BackTalk! Hype! It's not featuring Tom, Sam, and Z this time. It's actually just the editors. I'm Roy Canny.
I'm Chris Barr.
And we are going to be doing a back talk on moving to Homestead. So we both are brand new editors here at the Dice Tower. We just started this year. I started a little bit earlier in the year, and then after the Kickstarter, Chris joined us, and I thought this would be a good opportunity to learn about like us moving down to Homestead, and then get to meet Chris a little bit more, because I know we've had you on like a Testing Tuesday a little bit.
Testing Tuesday, yeah.
And that's been about it. So hey, we'll get to meet Chris and talk to him about stuff. And also Tom was like, hey, do a back talk on whatever you want. And instead of doing something too contentious or crazy, we figured we'd just talk about moving. Awesome. So hey, how's it going? Just feel free to ask us questions, and we'll shout those out as well as we go along for different stuff. But what do you think, like, the experience of like getting hired by the Dice Tower? I know you were looking at like the Kickstarter with that whole like stretch goal thing of like, oh man, second editor at a certain stretch goal.
Yeah, I was following that along. I didn't think everything would happen as quickly as it did. Mm-hmm. Tom had mentioned that he'd be in touch with me in the future, but I was thinking a year away, and you were hired in January, and then mid-February I got the call, and March 1st I started, so it all happened really quickly.
Yeah, for me, Tom, like I think he like messaged it on like a like reviewers and media like thing. It was like, hey, we're gonna be looking for a second video editor, and I immediately saw that and was like, I sent an email, Tom. Like I immediately like messaged back out, and it was kind of funny because like that specific, just that comment got like tons of likes.
Right.
I guess because people were like, oh, it's Roy, like. So I had a bunch of like other content creators and a lot of other contributors being like, yeah, Roy should do this. So I was excited about that from like the get-go. But yeah, I feel like we both went through like the interview process and did all that stuff, and then I think I knew like the end of November, so it was kind of like, it was like hush hush, don't tell anybody. But then I was like, oh my goodness, he wants me there like in January. I'm gonna have to do all this crazy stuff to move like super quick. I know you were kind of like in a transition period. Yeah. So how was moving for you?
I had already moved from Anchorage, Alaska to my folks' place in Seneca, South Carolina. So I was about where you were. You were a little further north of North Carolina. So all my stuff was already packed, luckily. So it's just a matter of, all right, got to get back in the car, got to go somewhere else again, and then just moved everything down here. So
did you still have all your stuff in storage and everything like that when you moved from South Carolina down here?
It was all still in boxes, luckily, with the exception of a few things I unpacked. But yeah, and I didn't have any furniture with me. I got rid of all that, just games.
You had it way easier than I did. I had a house, a wife, and 2 kids, and like we'd been living in that house for probably like 7 years, 8 years, something like that. So it's like we were entrenched in this house, and it's like, oh, hey, we're gonna move to Homestead, Florida. And I had been talking to my wife the whole time through it, like, oh man, I applied for this, and she's like, holy smokes, that's like your dream job, that's awesome. Like, what is it? She was telling her boss that she might be moving before I even like mentioned it to like the people I was currently working for. So she was already like, this is gonna happen, like we're gonna move down here, and I'm like, I don't have the job. Like, calm down. I don't have the job. Like I kept telling her, she was like getting me too excited. I'm like, I'm trying to not be excited. Calm down a little bit. But then as soon as Tom like let me know that it was real, it was like, oh no, I have to sell my house. Like it's like I gotta pack everything up. And the cool thing is my co-host on my podcast is actually a real estate agent.
Oh, okay.
So he came over and like was talking us through all the stuff, and I'm like, I feel like this house is gonna sell faster if I get everything out of it. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna try to sell the house, but I'm gonna get everything out. So I took all of our stuff in our house and put it all into storage.
Oh, okay, right.
And tried to clean the house up and get everything looking good. And we put like our house on the market, I think like the day after Christmas. So it took me a while to get everything cleaned, everything out. We moved in with my mother-in-law, and I was still kind of staying at the house and taking my son to school because my mother-in-law lived like 40 minutes away, sort of, or 30 minutes away a little bit. So my wife was staying with her, and I was still taking Sky to school and cleaning the house like every single day. So there was a lot of work that went into getting everything ready to move down to Homestead.
Yeah, I never wanted to put roots down in Anchorage. I mean, I say that after living there for 36 years, but, But I was taken up there by my folks. They moved out of the state 8 years ago to, well, eventually South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, I could have bought a house. I could have, you know, settled a little more there, but I knew I wanted out of Alaska. So I thought I would be going back into what I had been doing, which is I was a range support tech for the live action training ranges up at J-Bear, Alaska. So I thought I'd be at another range, and that didn't really work out, or it was taking forever as contracts get negotiated. People in the contract world know what that's like.
Yeah,
and then got the call from Tom, and it all worked out.
That's
So it's
awesome.
good. Yep.
So what about, since this is a channel about board gaming, so moving a big board game collection. Your board game collection was, I think, bigger than mine even was before I pared it down a lot. And I got rid of a bunch of my games. I think you were saying you basically didn't get rid of much of any of your games. How was it like moving a giant board game collection around?
Well, it took 4 deliveries by pallet of 500 pounds each. It was about 1,000 games, a little over 1,000 games actually.
That's crazy.
I got rid of about 100 of them, which I should have gotten rid of so much more. But I'm one of those people that I have a hard time getting rid of expansion boxes. And
Oh,
so,
really?
Yeah.
Did you move a bunch of your expansion boxes?
As I've been unpacking my stuff here in Homestead, pulling out
You're like,
empty
why do I
boxes,
have
I'm
this?
like, I am such an idiot. Why did I pack empty boxes? Because it was such a pain.
I normally keep my expansion boxes too, like when I get games, but when I moved, I condensed expansions into like the core boxes. I got everything like squished down as much as I could into like fitting stuff, because I was like, I'm moving my entire family to go work for the Dice Tower. I need to try to like make my board game collection look as small as possible so my wife doesn't like wring my neck like, why is our entire moving truck full of board games?
Right.
But yeah, I tried to like sell several games that I didn't think I was going to be playing as much to try to help fund the whole move, because moving states is not very cheap at all, especially when you got to change over car tags, change over everything. It's just ridiculous. But yeah, so it was interesting trying to figure out which games to keep and which games to get rid of. Like I kept most all my very favorite games, but there were some games it's like, this is a big game. I know, like I actually considered like, does Tom and Sam and Z like these games a lot? And if it's like, if they like it a lot, that means it's going to be in the board game library / in their collection. And if they like it enough, I could actually play it with them if I really need to play the game. So it's like, okay, like I got rid of my Star Wars Rebellion. I love Star Wars Rebellion. That's a great game. But I got rid of my copy because I'm like, if I'm going to play Star Wars Rebellion, I'd probably just play with Sam. So I could just ask him to play his copy. So I got rid of some stuff like that. But then there was some stuff that's like, I can't ever get rid of this.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I should have gotten rid of way more than I did, but
Yeah.
I don't know. Figure I don't own anything else really. It's just the game.
See,
so
I kept all my furniture and got rid of some board games. You got rid of all your furniture and kept all your board games.
I did. Yeah, that you can't really sleep comfortably on board games, so that might have been a mistake.
It's like, first thing on the docket, actually buy a bed.
Yes. Ooh, a bed. Check. Okay.
Okay.
All
Couch, TV.
Eventually, yeah. I know the couch and TV happened. End tables, because I'm actually using the boxes full of games as end tables right now. But works.
You said one of your next things on the list is to actually buy shelves to put the board games
shelves,
on.
that would be good, so they're not just stacked. That would be a good thing. Maybe eventually.
That's awesome.
I don't know.
So we were talking a little bit before about like, were there any crazy mishaps or any bad things that happened on the move? So you're telling me about some mishaps that happened with your board games.
Yeah, they're going to get a little crushed just from all the weight. That's going to happen. So I fully expected corners to be damaged, maybe even some splits on some of the sides of boxes. But when the company moving it puts a forklift right through the middle of the pallet and completely shears your copy of Adrenaline in half, yeah, that was a tough pill to swallow. Tears were shed, but it's all fine, Luckily, they're just games, as Tom always says. They're replaceable. But that was a rough one to open that
without
box
your
up.
adrenaline there. Like, what games are you gonna play? It's not like you have any other ones or anything.
I know. Those other 999, who needs those?
Yeah, for sure. Didn't you say there was like one that was like out of print or something that you had to like get a new copy of or something?
Right. Adrenaline was destroyed. My copy of Zolkin, but that was easily replaced. But the one that hurt the most was Tobago, and because as far as I know, that's out of print here in the U.S. At least with I think it was Rio Grande that published that. But luckily, it's still available in I think Germany, so I got it there. But still, that one scared me a little bit.
That's rough. Oliver in chat said he thinks he fainted from the horror of the forklift story.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
And he's like, I lived it.
I was there.
But yeah, so another thing that I know Tom's talked about recently in his history of the Dice Towers is HOAs in Homestead. Down here in Homestead, Florida, like to get approved to actually move in anywhere, you have to go through this long process of the HOA approving you, and you'll fill out like your lease information for your thing. It's just a few pages. You fill out your HOA information. It's like a book. And it's like, write in blood this thing and that thing.
It's insane how the HOAs are down here.
And it takes a long time to get approved as well. So
yeah, I ended up in a place. I told I think we used the same restate agent. That was a new one for me too.
Yeah.
Ramon, I believe, and he said they can take up to 30 days to get approval. And when Tom needs you here on such a date, it's like, where do you live? But some of them also only take 5 days, so I was lucky enough to get into one of those. The fortunate thing is I had originally applied when you originally applied, and it actually worked out nicely that you got hired first, because then I could call you and say, hey, Roy, what do I expect here? So,
like, I made sure to let you know about like Ramon and hooked you up with that, and, and then a bunch of other different things, just because it's like, hey, you need to be on top of it because HOAs are lame down here. So
it's insane. Yeah, wow. Yeah, Tom's gone on a little bit about it. We're going to go on a little bit about it because I had never experienced that before. I mean, I guess I'm a little sheltered up in Alaska, but I've been to other states and never experienced anything like that.
But yeah, HOA stands for Homeowners Association. Make sure to go back and check out the when they first moved studios. Tom tells a story about HOAs and people sneaking into their old studio and stuff like that.
Yeah, that'll be on Sunday's History of the Dice Tower.
Oh, gotcha.
Is when he covers that.
So stay tuned for future History of the Dice Tower stuff. But yeah, Chris has been editing through all that stuff. But yeah, so there was lots of interesting stuff with the move. I actually came down. Derek was super awesome enough to like let me hang out at his place a little bit because he had basically moved out of his condo, and we stayed there with him for a little while and worked together, and I was able to look around at a bunch of the different areas and find a place that we wanted to stay there long enough to get the HOA approved so that way we could move in. It's super cool though, because like I know the guys helped you move in. They helped me move all my stuff into storage while I was waiting for HOA approval, because I moved the entire family and everything down here at once and basically put everything in storage. So but it was cool. Like I have pictures like on my Facebook and things like that of the guys helping me move all the stuff in. I know a bunch of people were like, it's the most star-studded moving team ever. But everybody was super happy about your move because it was literally we just moved your board game collection. That's all you had.
Dad and I had worked all that morning. My folks helped me out getting down here. We got about half of it there, and we were just smoked. This Florida heat. I mean, you know, it's a different beast down here than from Anchorage, Alaska, and even Seneca, South Carolina. This time of year is fairly cool, and that heat just saps the energy out of it. But yeah, the guys came by. It took 20 minutes, I think. We just lugged the boxes up the stairs and we were done. It was very helpful. I'm very appreciative of that.
Jim says that the HOAs in Alaska are like, please come move here, please.
Yeah, possibly. I think the other people would be like, no, don't move here. But
so my kids, chat's asking how old my kids were and how did they deal with moving down to Florida. So my son is 6 and my daughter is 4. She's about to turn 5 in a couple months. But it was kind of interesting because it was the middle of Scotty's year of kindergarten, so we were a little bit nervous about moving him out of kindergarten and moving schools. And of course that was a pain because we had the time of where we're trying to switch that up. Also, you have to like have an address and bill bills to actually be able to get your kid into school. So it's like, we're down here, we want to put him in school, but we have to actually have a permanent residence to do that as well.
Right.
So he was out of school for like a month, which was cool because we got to do the cruise and all that sort of stuff.
Oh, that's right.
So that was a lot of fun. But they did pretty good. I rode in the U-Haul down with my son, Scotty. We kind of split them up, and my wife rode with my daughter in our other car, and I drug one of my cars behind the U-Haul. So I just had this giant U-Haul with my car is pretty big as it is, like an Oldsmobile like boat thing.
Right.
So I was like this giant U-Haul thing. I'm like, I'm not stopping. I'm just going straight down there to get to work. Because basically I like left my old job and then moved down here, and within a week I was working and learning from Derek and learning how to do all the editing stuff and getting everything up and running and doing reviews, like basically right around the corner. We did, I did a little bit of learning, but then we went on the cruise after that. So actually me and Derek like rushed to get everything ready for the cruise together. So that was kind of interesting. It was kind of cool to have multiple hands on to edit different things too.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, it's been really exciting. The fact that we made the stretch goal to get the second editor and Chris is here, and it's been a lot of
thrilled.
cool.
That was great.
But yeah, if you have any other specific questions about our move down to Homestead, I live closer to over where Tom is, and then Chris lives a little bit further down as well.
Yeah, a little bit.
But yeah, we're not too far from the studio, and I feel like everything worked out good. The place that you actually are staying is one of the places that we looked at with Ramon beforehand.
Right.
But it was, I think you're in a two-bedroom or something, so we're like, we have 2 kids, we need another bedroom.
Right.
But yeah, lots of good stuff. But let us know. But yeah, and now the kids can visit the theme parks. Funny thing, part of the deal for me to move down here, and my wife's like, you get to have your dream job. I get to have season passes to Disney. So we got our tax return in, and she's like, season passes to Disney. So we actually went to Disney the other week, and we're gonna go back again when we do Dice Tower Convention. So we'll try to travel up to Orlando here and there every once in a while. Even though we're in Florida, it's not very close to Orlando.
Yeah, it's
like
4 hours?
It's 4, 3.5, something like that, depending on traffic. But yeah, it's a little ways. But you can get hotels near Orlando that aren't that expensive, so it's not too bad. But yeah, have I ever experienced Florida summer? I've been to Orlando during Dice Tower Con, and it's pretty warm then. But Homestead, like I said, is 4 hours straight south of that. So like we're basically as close to the equator as you can get in the United States. I mean, I guess Texas is maybe a little bit lower in spots, or is
Texas,
that even?
maybe Puerto Rico, but yeah, it's warm down here. That's
So yeah,
for sure.
Chris is definitely going to be feeling it because he moved from Alaska to Homestead, Florida.
We'll see how that goes. So far, it's been great because they're still getting snow in Alaska, and it's 80 degrees here and perfect. But I keep hearing, wait till July.
You've been sending lots of troll pictures back to your friends back
You got to do that.
Like, check out all the palm trees
and sun
and sunshine
as they get slammed with 4 inches of new snow. Suckers.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so we'll see how July phases with us here,
Yeah, and I mean, I've talked about it on Q&As and stuff like that. I came from Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and the traffic wasn't nearly as bad as it is here.
Right.
That's one of the things that I've had to get used to is like just the population density being in like a bigger area. Because Miami is basically just taking over everything around it. So I feel like everything's just getting bigger and bigger around Miami. So, and being able to drive up to cool stuff, it's like traffic.
Yeah.
But
all day, every day.
Are there any other experiences from moving down here that you?
Not so much. I mean, the big ones were the just getting rid of all the furniture because I didn't want to move that. The board games were a big enough pain. Luckily, I didn't have a house to sell. I didn't have a family to move, and I had a landing spot, what I would call close. Alaska's a big state, so I consider Seneca close. That's about 12 hours away. So that was good. But yeah, I mean, it's the same stuff that you just said, just getting used to traffic, the HOA fiascos, the weather, which is so far perfect, and I'm loving it. But again, we'll see in July, and we'll see when that first hurricane warning goes. We get earthquakes in Alaska. I left a week after that 7.0 earthquake that hit Anchorage, and but you get earthquakes literally daily up there. I think they've had 50,000 so far this year and spread out in Alaska. Those you don't know they're coming. They just happen, so you don't have to worry about them. A hurricane, we'll see how that goes.
Kabuki Kid asks, aside from theme parks, what are the best things about being in Florida? And what are the worst things about being in Florida?
Best things, I love waking up and seeing palm trees every day. That is phenomenal. I love that.
Yeah, when me and Heather first got here, it's like, it feels like we're on vacation. Like, there's just palm trees, like, because I never see palm trees unless, like, I'm going to the beach. Like, because I've been to, like, Myrtle Beach and stuff like that before. And I've been to, like, we've gone to, like, the beach when we've gone down to Orlando to, like, visit Disney and stuff like that. But it's just, like, it feels weird to see palm trees all the time.
All the time.
And, I mean, I feel like I've gotten used to it at this point. But it's just kind of, like, weird when I first moved down. It's like, this is like vacation. It doesn't feel like it's actually real. And has it settled in for you yet? Like, oh man, your job is you work at the Dice Tower now.
Oh, it's no, that's wonderful. I mean, it's a job. Don't get us wrong. We're editing all day, but it's I mean, we're basically consuming board game content daily. I mean, we're editing it. We're not playing games, but no, it's awesome. I love it. But yeah, waking up to see palm trees, coming here, hanging out with the guys. I described it. It's like a rated PG-13 frat house. It's great. I mean, you're working with, the guys didn't know me, but I felt like I knew them because I've been watching these guys for a decade. So yeah, it was great. Loved it.
That's one of the things that I always like love about like producing media and like doing podcasts or doing any of these video things is like the audience and the people that we talk to through the camera all the time, like they feel like they actually get to know us or get to like know more about us. And like I've met tons of people like who like listen to like my stuff and watch my stuff and are like, oh man, Roy, and they know a lot of your inside jokes and they know what you like and what you don't like and a lot of these different things. But then like when they actually meet you, you're getting to meet them for the first time. So it's really, really kind of fun. It's like the friendship is already there. They're already friends with you. You just have to become friends with them back. So I'm sure it was like that for you, meeting the guys for the first time. It's like, hey, I know Tom does this and that, and you have these weird intricacies because you talk about all these things all the time. And oh man, I know you love that thing because you said it on that one show that one time. But it's like, you get to, like as a fan of someone getting to meet someone for the first time, or as like a person who does media and people come up and talk to you, it's just like friends in waiting almost.
Yeah, it's kind of built-in friends basically. And I mean, that's the board game hobby anyway. Anywhere you go, you find a board game group, even if you don't know the people, you've already got that connection. But to answer the other half of, was a Kabuki?
The worst part of
traffic.
That's what I said when we did our Q&A, and they're like, oh man, if you don't like Florida traffic, you'd hate New York. And I'm like, yes. Yeah. Obviously. Cool. Which of us works on Dice Tower Tonight? I don't think Dice Tower Tonight actually has anything that gets worked on because it just automatically goes up. That's Crystal and Eric's show. Yeah. Because they do it like Google Hangouts. And then it just goes live. So.
Yeah, that just goes live. I don't think there's any editing in that.
Yeah.
So that's those two.
They do need to get on thumbnails though. Anyway, I know that's a pet peeve of Sam's too. Whenever he sees anything on the channel that doesn't have a thumbnail, he's like, thumbnail time. So, good times. Do either of you have pets, and how did they handle the move?
No pets.
No pets. I have no pets either. So.
Yeah.
Actually, we do have pets. I don't even know why I said that. I have birds.
Don't you have a bird?
You came to my house. So like, yeah, we have birds. I don't have pets. My wife has pets.
Say, maybe he doesn't want people to know he has birds. I won't say anything.
Yeah, my wife's always like, you should put our birds in like your videos. I'm like, I'm not trying to steal Netter's thing. He's like, you should like show her up because we have 3 birds. He's like,
3,
you should put birds on each, like lots of birds on your shoulder and one on your head, and be like, what then, Netters? But yeah, they were good. My wife had them in the car with her and like made sure everything was great. And I mean, it's worked out pretty good. And it's been my wife really enjoys bird stuff a lot. And once I started doing my 3D printer thing, I like print out like a little bird stand and stuff like that too. So we have fun and they did good. Kabuki's asking me what kind of birds now. And I'm like, I'm not the person to ask these questions. My wife has a green cheek canoe that's like tealish.
Fancy names.
And then she has she's probably watching right now, being like, she should come into chat and be like, it's this kind of bird. Help me out. Oh, there she goes. She just named it.
Oh, did she?
She did. Thank you for saving me. But yeah, so
there's a dove outside of my bedroom window that has a nest with 2 eggs in it, so I guess I could claim those as pets.
there you go.
Yeah, so I'll do that.
Awesome. But yeah. Oh, we also have a hamster. My wife's the pet person.
You also have 3 dogs, a cat.
We
some
didn't have a
lizards.
hamster when we moved, though. We had a hamster before we moved. We gave him to my brother-in-law, and now.
Just to remind you, you have 2 kids. You remember that?
We have 2
you remember
kids.
them, right? Okay.
I remember the kids. Nice. But yeah. Are they in Wingspan? I've been wanting to play Wingspan. I haven't actually played it yet.
Oh, okay.
And I've been telling Heather, I was like, oh man, I feel like that's a game she might actually like. It's like engine building and stuff, and she really likes birds. So I'm like, that would be awesome if that was a game that I could play with my wife.
Yeah, it's a beautiful game.
And everybody raves about that game like crazy. But yeah. Cool. Well, I guess we'll do a little bit of this and that. I know a lot of these guys like to do that for the BackTalk stuff. So give us 2 things and make me and Chris choose in between the 2 things. And we'll just shoot some of these out real quick. But yeah, I'm mostly done with editing for the week. I've been doing a bunch of Tom's different things, and I know Chris has been doing a lot of the history of the Dice Towers, and he's doing Board Game Breakfast stuff and doing Weekend Review.
A weekend review to do.
But yeah, and we'll be back on our regular schedule next week. And Tom actually recorded stuff for the breakfast, so he'll be on breakfast on Monday. But yeah. Florida drivers or Florida humidity?
I'd take the humidity.
I would take the humidity too. It's definitely humid down here, and I actually learned the hard way because we put like a stroller in like our little storage building without whatever, and it came out and it had like mildew stuff on it, and I had to like scrub the whole thing down. I'm like, it's really humid down here.
Yeah.
Euro games or Ameritrash? That's what we almost were gonna title this back talk. I'm definitely more Ameritrash, but I like thematic games more than Ameritrash games.
Right.
But yeah.
I'll play whatever, but I do tend to like Heroes a little better.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Carnival Zombie or Zombicide? How about neither?
I have not played Carnival Zombie, but I do like Zombicide.
Zombies are fine. They're a little bit overdone in my opinion, but I'd try Carnival Zombie. I don't think I'd try Zombicide again, so I guess Carnival Zombie. Squares or hexes? Hexes.
Yeah, hexes.
I like lots of games with hexes in them, so
Side
hexes
has
are cool.
hexes, and Side is a perfect game. So
Muffins or donuts? I like both.
Muffins on donuts.
Muffin donuts?
Muffin donuts, delicious.
A glazed muffin? Polar bears or Kodiak bears? I don't know that I have an opinion, but polar bears are white and cool, I guess. I don't know. Do they have both in Alaska?
Yeah, they're both up there. I've seen the grizzlies, and we have black bears all over Anchorage. But probably polar bears just because they're a little more mysterious because they're way up north.
Publix or Winn-Dixie? I haven't gone to a Winn-Dixie in a really long time, so probably Publix.
I don't think I've been to a Winn-Dixie since visiting my grandma in Scranton, South Carolina a decade ago, so I would go with Publix.
KFC or Popeyes? I had never been to Popeyes until I actually moved down here. I know we had Popeyes in North Carolina, I just never had actually been to one.
Yeah.
But I went to Popeyes once we were down here, and they have this Chipotle ranch sauce, and it's really good on the chicken.
I was actually going to say the correct answer to both those is Chipotle.
Oh, yeah, well, Chipotle is good too. Yeah. Blood Rage or Cosmic Encounter?
Blood Rage.
Those are 2 really good games. But I think I love both those games, but I think I'm going to have to pick Blood Rage too, just out of the 2.
Yeah.
Blood Rage is really good. Dogs or cats? Dogs.
I like cats.
Yeah, you would. Eurogamers like cats.
I like cats.
Negotiation or auctions? Negotiation.
Oh, wow. Those are actually 2 Euro things that I don't really like.
Either of?
Yeah, I guess.
Negotiation's not really Euro-y,
That's
is
true.
it?
That's not so eerie, but I don't really like.
If it's a Euro game,
options
you're not
either.
allowed to actually look at or talk to the other players, is what I've heard. I'm just kidding.
It's eyes down on your own paper.
Solo, eyes down on your own spreadsheet.
That's right. That's the way it was intended.
Exactly. Punk or
Right
screamo? This is totally a question for you. You're
Punk
like
or screamo?
orchestra.
Yeah, orchestral. Probably punk. I don't like screamo.
I
at
like
all.
both, but as I get older, I listen to less and less screamo music, so definitely more pop punk. Kenny would be like punk rock.
Yeah.
He's deep into that. Tom's hats or Tom's ties? I'll go with hats.
Yeah, hats.
Because when we're doing a top 10 list and he's trying to switch those things out while we're doing them, it's definitely easier to do the transitions with the hats than it is to do with the ties, because that was ridiculous. We did a top 10 where he's trying to switch out ties every time.
Yeah, the hats.
It didn't work.
The hats, because the video cards we get have 30 different clips on them, and so you have to think back and like, oh man, what was he wearing that day? Oh, that's right, it was the sailor hat day. So you can go back and find those.
Yeah, he'll
So the hats.
switch out a hat like each review, which actually makes it kind of easier because he'll film a whole bunch of things for one day, but if he has a different hat for each review, then it's easier to put those clips together.
Right.
Not only is it stylish, it also has utility.
It's functional.
Anyway, fantasy or sci-fi?
Probably fantasy.
I like fantasy too.
Lord of the Rings that you guys can't see off the screen there.
Yeah, we actually have Journeys from Middle Earth like on the table right now. Cobra Kai or Stranger Things? I like Stranger Things, definitely. I haven't seen Cobra Kai, but I also don't necessarily care that much.
I'm a child of the late 80s, early 90s, so I think I'd have to go with the Karate Kid affiliation.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Have you seen Stranger Things, though?
No, I've seen pieces. I know it's very Spielbergian and all that, and supposed to be in the 80s, I guess. But,
It's supposed to feel like those.
Yeah.
2-player games or 4-player games? Probably four, just because I like to play with more people. And
that's the ideal number for any Euro game, is 4 players.
For most board games in general, you know. Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea or Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea? That's just a question for me. Both. I'll take both.
Scythe.
I need to play Scythe more. 1 6-player game or 2 3-player games?
Probably 2 3-player games for me.
I like when you can play those big 6-player games. Like, I don't know, I have no problem playing like the long epic game of like 6-player Twilight Imperium or something like that. I love to play, I've played plenty of 6-player games of Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea and stuff like that. I like big games with lots of people, and you just get to have more fun with more people. And 3-player games are weird a lot of the times.
It's true. Usually there's, I don't know,
because I play games with conflict. I guess it doesn't matter as much in a Euro game, but if you're playing a game that has conflict where people can directly affect each other, 3 players is hard because there's always 2 people who get into it and one person that runs away with it.
Sits off to the side.
You just like to be that one guy that sits off to the side. You're like, I'm not aggressive. I'm the Euro player. You do that in every game we've played so far. I've only known Chris for a few months, but every game he's like, I don't play aggressive. And then he's just like, min-max points, min-max points. I'm like, people kill Chris!
What? I'm just little bees over here doing my thing.
Exactly. We played
It's a full moon down.
Sokoyumi. I always say that wrong. Full moon down.
Yeah, something like that.
But yeah, I was the dragons and he was the bugs, and I could have eaten you alive, but my dragons were too slow to even get across the board.
That's
so
true.
I just ate Sam alive.
We're just over pollinating our flowers, minding our business.
There you go.
Making points.
For sure. And Kenny still won anyway.
Kenny won that, though. Yeah, he trounced
Metal or rap? Definitely metal.
Metal, I guess.
Yeah. Terra Mystica or Gaia Project?
Oh, that's a good one. Probably Gaia Project, because they cleaned up some stuff from Terra Mystica, but they're both awesome games.
I haven't actually played either, but I would try Gaia Project just because it's the newer one. Men at Work or Rhino Hero Super Battle? I haven't played Men at Work yet, but I love Rhino Hero.
Rhino Hero is fun. I probably Men at Work, but I haven't actually played it yet, but just from the little bit I know about it.
Chris or Roy? I'm going to have to go with Chris.
I will also go with no.
Roy,
of course. It's all about Roy.
No. Worker placement or deck building?
Oh, those are both good.
I really like deck building games.
I do too, but
I've played so many worker placement games. It's just like, yeah, okay, we're getting resources and fulfilling these agendas.
That sounds awesome.
I know, it is awesome, and obviously people like it. There's a million worker placement games. There's obviously people like deck building because there's a million of those too.
Those are both great. I think worker placement would edge it out for me, but they're both
There are some
wonderful.
bad deck building games though. So just kind of like, Computer games or console games?
Board games.
Exactly. I was thinking the same thing. Like, I used to play tons of like console games and computer games growing up, but like for me now, for some reason, it feels like a waste of time, and I'd rather just, at least, especially now that I'm like working in board games, I'd rather learn about board games and consume more board game media and play board games with other real people face to face than do either of the other two.
Yeah.
Like, I've tried to sit down and play the Switch so many times. I'm just like, I'd rather just watch board game media YouTube videos. Is that weird?
No, that makes sense. I'm the same way. I figure if I'm on my own and not, if I'm in a group setting, got to play board game, and if I'm on my own, then I'm probably working on video stuff or music stuff. So,
Point salad or specific win conditions?
point salad.
I like both. I don't know. I wish there were more sandboxy point salad type games, like actual sandbox where you're running around a board, but then could get points in all sorts of ways. I think that's cool, the way
That's a good idea.
Zaya sort of does that sort of thing. We were actually talking about this the other day. Dice-driven or card-driven combat? That's one of the main differences in Mansions of Madness and Lord of the Rings, Journeys to Middle-earth. What do you like better, dice-driven combat or card-driven combat?
Probably cards. Yeah, cards.
You were saying you were missing rolling the dice when we were playing.
For this game, because this is basically Mansions of Madness in Lord of the Rings world. I did miss the dice in that, but I think for like Kemet and Blood Rage, I love the drafting of the cards, and then that's how you fight. So yeah, I think the cards.
I really like both. I really enjoy doing dice, but probably card-driven as well, just because like Heroes of Land, Sea is my favorite game, and it's a very card-driven combat. It's very deterministic and outthinking your opponent.
Right.
Cool. Work or sleep? Work. Is that terrible? If I could get away with not actually sleeping and not feel tired, I would, because I do lots of things. But I also drink Monsters constantly, so I'm trying to life hack sleep out of my life.
That's true.
I'm also going to die very young. No, I'm just kidding.
You with the monsters, me with the black coffee. You just got to keep going. Yeah, probably work. And not, I mean, I love the day job, don't get me wrong, love this, but not just the day job.
Right.
I'm talking about work, because you're constantly putting models together and
painting
and doing your podcast.
Doing my podcast, creating stuff.
I'm doing this. I'm a freelance music composer, so I'm doing that when I'm not doing this. And and I also put minis together too. So yeah, it's just always nice having something to do.
Yeah. And sleep is just downtime. Kemet or Rising Sun? I haven't played Kemet.
I haven't played Rising Sun.
Kemet might be better.
Kemet's pretty good, but I do want to play Rising Sun.
Nice. Pop-Tarts or toaster strudels? Toaster strudels.
Yeah, toaster strudels.
Star Wars or Star Trek?
Trek.
Lord of the Rings. No, I'm just
Lord
kidding.
of the Rings. I'm like the opposite of all the guys here. They're all Marvel. I kind of like DC.
I do love every time Z though, like
Star Trek? Is that the one with the bear?
To mix them together. Yeah, Star Trek, is that the one with the groaning monkey thing?
They're on the Starship Millennial Falcon?
Exactly. I love that. Rest in peace, Roy's liver. Good times.
It's long gone.
Awesome, guys. Well, I think we're pretty much going to wrap that up here. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. Hopefully you got to know Chris a little bit better. We've definitely had a ton of fun being down here in Homestead, Florida so far. Hopefully we'll get to see you guys at some conventions. There's definitely a lot more stuff coming up on the channel over the weekend. More histories of the Dice Tower, which is going to be awesome. More of the Gathering Gaming. Well, a lot of those Tom has already done. He's recording more over the weekend as well. And then also come back Monday for the new board game breakfast. But yeah, we'll be back to everything normal on next week when the guys get back, and it'll be lots of fun. So thanks so much for joining us for this BackTalk, and I guess we'll see you then. I've been Roy Canning.
I'm Chris Barr.
and we'll see you later. Peace.